Hi everyone, this is Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop, and today I'm going to talk about Doreen Virtue angel cards and oracle cards. A lot of people in my tarot group on Facebook have been having debates and conversations about Doreen Virtue and her turnaround from creating and producing and teaching her oracle cards to now denouncing the cards and saying they don't work and that they are evil and that people shouldn't read them. I just want to talk a little bit about my experience with Doreen Virtue and her cards. Okay, I don't know her personally. I did meet her once at a show, and I don't own any of her oracle cards either, but I want to just give you a little bit of background as to why. Firstly, a bit of background about myself. I have been a fortune teller since 1990. I actually became a professional tarot reader and astrologer and also palm reader, and also read and design and produce my own decks of cards. I have several hundred on the market that I make, and I've produced and designed, and I teach as well. But my history of connecting or seeing Doreen Virtue's work was way back in the 90s. I'd been doing readings probably for about 5 years, and then her cards came out on the market, I want to say around the mid-90s. And I remember one of my teachers gave me a deck as a gift. It was like my birthday or something like that, and they gave it to me as a gift. And I remember opening the box, and I remember liking the box. I thought the box was really sturdy, and I liked it. And then when I looked at the angel cards, it was her first deck that she'd ever produced. And I looked at them, and I sort of shuffled them and played with them a little bit, and I just found them very sweet and very colourful and very pretty, but I didn't find them very deep. I didn't connect with them very much. They're not a form of tarot. They're just oracle cards with a beautiful picture of an angel with the word on it. You know, the word could be healing or forgive or release or inspire, and I didn't really kind of connect with them, so I re-gifted them to someone else later on. After many years, I actually found out that my tarot teacher was given them as a gift from someone, and she didn't connect with them, and she passed them on to me, and then I didn't connect with them either. So, you know, they're not tarot, so I didn't really enjoy them, but I thought they were very pretty and well made. So I pretty much didn't think about them. I let them go to someone else and just got on with learning in tarot and becoming a better tarot reader. I also started learning astrology at that point in the early 90s, and I started working in esoteric shops around Sydney. I worked in 4 or 5 different shops, and I started to notice more Doreen Virtue cards were coming out on the market. So there was all sorts of different variations on angel cards and healing with the angels and meditations with the angels. And again, I looked at the cards. I tried to see if there was something in them for me, but again, I did not connect with them. As time went on, again, books started coming out about angel cards and angel therapy and all these type of things. I did read a few of Doreen Virtue's cards. She was very prolific. A lot of the New Age stores that I worked with would stock shelves of her stuff. So you'd have 20 different tarot decks on one shelf, but one shelf was dedicated to just Doreen Virtue cards and also books. And I thought, wow, she's really onto something. She's really found a market here. I wasn't really particularly into angels myself, but I did study a lot of angel lore, and because of my background is Catholic, I was interested in the angels and the saints, and I always studied and learned about those type of things. But when I looked at Doreen Virtue's angel cards, they weren't really based on angels. They were based on words like, healing and forgiveness. So again, I didn't see them as quite deep. I'm sure she did go into some deep angel lore, because I know later on she came out with decks that were based on Archangel Michael and Gabriel and all the others. But in the early days, her cards were not really associated with angels. They were just pretty pictures of women angels in idyllic, surroundings. So as time went on, I started to realize and notice that the angel cards were becoming quite popular. To my surprise, a lot of the other readers, tarot readers, started working with Doreen Virtue cards. So I couldn't understand how you could do a real solid, serious reading with those cards, but other readers seemed to be doing that, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. I didn't think they would catch on, actually. I thought they would be a gimmick, and a few people would buy the angel cards and that would be it. But they actually became kind of like an industry and even rivaled tarot in a way. I noticed that people that were afraid of tarot were drawn to the angel cards. So a lot of people that would not normally buy a tarot deck were now buying angel cards, and I thought that was a good thing, because I thought, well, if people are opening up to divination and learning about things, maybe the angel cards was a first step into learning the proper stuff. So my first initial feelings were, it's just a doorway or an entry point for a lot of people that otherwise would not go near tarot. So I thought that was a good thing. So then one day I decided to get a professional angel card reading done for myself. So I made a booking, and I researched a few different readers, and I found one that claimed that she was an angel card reader and she communicated with the angels. And that's something that I don't do. So I thought I'll try it out and see what I get from it, and I'll have an open mind, and I went along for the reading. Now, the woman that was doing the reading it was angel cards and also Doreen Virtue fairy cards. And at that time, I wanted to know if I should open my own business, because I'd been working at that point for a few years in the different esoteric shops, but I was starting to want to do my own and open my own shop and have my own brand. And I remember asking this woman, this reader, the question, will I open my own business in the next 2 years? And she shuffled the angel cards, got me to pull out a few. They were actually fairy cards. And it said something like, trust in yourself and, go forth and multiply, or something like that. It was very vague and very ideal. And so I questioned the reader and I said, well, do you see me making money from it? Do you see me losing money? And the card was something like prioritize. And then I was feeling frustrated, because I was feeling like this reader was just avoiding answering a question. And, I asked her something else about, will I be traveling to Europe again anytime soon? And she said something like, listen to your inner thoughts, or something like that. And I was just really frustrated. I just found the reading really pointless. I mean, of course I could get meaning from all of those things, but it was like, I don't know, it was just like avoidance to me. So my first professional reading that I ever got from an angel card reading, and an angel card reader who had the certificate from Doreen Virtue, by the way, was very disappointing. And I think I went to that reading with the idea and background of a tarot reading. I find tarot answers the question. Like, if you're asking, will I open a business, the tarot cards will tell you pretty much yes or no, and if it's going to be successful or not. So I think my mistake is I went to the angel card reading with the sort of background of a tarot card reading. So I think angel card readings tend to be more about healing and feel good. But yeah, I didn't feel good after that reading. I felt very frustrated. But, that could have just been that particular angel card reader. I'm not saying everyone's like that, and I'm not even saying Doreen is like that. But that's my experience, and I kind of didn't see any point in getting another reading like that ever again. So anyway, fast forward a few years, and the I Can Do It show was hitting Sydney. I Can Do It was a show led by Louise L. Hay, who is the owner of the Hay House publishing house and who's passed away now. But at the time, Louise Hay was touring, and I wanted to see Louise Hay because I'm a big fan of Louise Hay's work. And a few of my friends got together and we all went and booked in and to see, we bought tickets. And Doreen Virtue was one of the speakers as well. So again, I thought, oh well, this is my chance to get to see Doreen in live, in person. Maybe there's something that I can connect with. Now, when the show began, Doreen, she was one of the speakers. There was about 5 or 6, and then Louise Hay was going to be at the end. When Doreen spoke, first of all, she was wearing a long flowing white gown, like something out of Lord of the Rings, like some of the women would wear in the Lord of the Rings. And she had a crystal wand. She looked like a fairy or an angel. And, she got on stage and there was a bit of music and dancing and celebration. People were happy. She was doing sort of readings. There was about 400 people at the show. She was doing readings, for people that she plucked out of the audience. And I didn't find it very kind of deep or genuine. I found it quite surfacey and quite feel good. But, people felt good and that was fine. I didn't have any problem with it. But I did find it was all very marketing and very image and very spiritual, psycho-spiritual. I found it not to my taste, very feel-good and just not what I was into. I was more into the deep, kind of more transformative type of knowledge and education. So I kind of didn't enjoy the show. Later on, after the show, Doreen was signing her cards, her books and her cards and her CDs and other things that she was selling. And I got to meet her. She seemed like quite a nice lady. She was very pleasant. Obviously, she was with the public, so she was, working. And, I left that show. I saw Louise Hay was great. I enjoyed Louise Hay. And that was the end of that. I also noticed that Doreen Virtue was offering angel intuitive workshops now, and these were workshops that had hundreds of people at a time, and it was hundreds of dollars. I think it was about $500 Australian at the time, which was quite expensive. And it's like a weekend, and you're doing readings and Doreen Virtue's teaching. I noticed that people started showing up with angel intuitive workshop certificates that they've done on the weekend, and I thought, wow, that's a great marketing tool and that's a money spinner. I mean, I was teaching tarot cards at the time as well, and I used to have 10 students maximum, and the classes would go for 6 weeks, 6 weeks of 2-hour sessions, and I was charging like $120 for all that, and Doreen Virtue was doing like a weekend and 500 people or 400 people or 200 people and charging that much money. And I just thought, wow, she's really got it going on. She's got a book, she's got her cards, she's got her gimmick, she's got her followers. I just thought, wow, she's really, that's something I aspired to achieve, but again, I just ignored her work. I wasn't really into it, but I was glad that other people were, and if they wanted to follow that path, that's great. And I think that her cards brought people a lot of joy and fun and happiness, so I don't see anything wrong with the cards at all. I think they're quite pretty and they've got a place. But now what's happened is Doreen's denounced all of her cards and her books, and now she's a born-again Christian, and now she's going around saying that her cards are evil and not to listen to them, and they're against God and all those type of things, which is kind of sad because a lot of people love her work, and I think that her work does help people in some ways. And I actually agree with her that her cards, for me, are actually fake. So I don't never connected to them, as I've said. And I can see why she would think that they don't work, because I feel like they lack something. There's some essence that they lack. And I think that they were a gimmick, and I think it was a good gimmick that made a lot of money. But I can see why she's lost her faith in the cards, because they don't have a depth. I think they feel good. I think they're pretty. And this is probably why there's no depth to her work. I've been reading tarot now since 1990, and I'm inspired by it every day. I have a fortune teller shop. I work every day. I love my job, and I help people make decisions, and I help them with all sorts of problems and questions and fears and doubts. So I've been inspired by tarot and astrology and all sorts of divination. So I'm going to keep doing what I love, and I'm going to keep being inspired by divination, and I'm going to keep using it as a tool to help people. And yeah, so Doreen Virtue, I hope you find whatever makes you happy. And I do agree with you that your cards do not work. That we can agree on. But please don't say that tarot and divination doesn't work, because that's not true.